Well, good morning, y'all, and welcome back to Apron Strings. I like you in the kitchen with me. I've got a fun day planned today. Another friend and I are going to take our friend Cindy for her birthday. We're going to a tea room, and so I'm going to get started on making some white chicken chili, and then I will finish it when I get back after a while, and we'll have it for supper. But I didn't take a picture of the raw chicken on the tray, but let me tell you what I did. I put a piece of parchment paper on my cookie sheet, and I put about 5 chicken thighs, and I seasoned them on both sides with salt and pepper, onion and garlic powder, and then I put them skin side up. And I've got them in the oven on 400 degrees, and I'm going to cook them for 30 minutes, and I'm going to take them out and cover them with foil, and let them just sit there and cool down, and when I get back I'll debone them and I'll make the chili out of them. So I'm going to bring you over to the stove and let you see what they look like in there cooking, and that way you'll know I'm telling you the truth, that I'm cooking some chicken thighs, and we're going to have white chicken chili for supper tonight. Okay, see, I've just got them raw on the cookie sheet, not covered in foil. Of course they're raw, they're cooking. But just laying on the cookie sheet, skin side up, and I'm going to cook them until they're done, and then I'll debone them, and I'll use broth to make my chili. Okay, my chicken's done. I'm going to let it cool down where I can debone it. And we'll have white chicken chili after a while. Okay, I got my chicken out of the oven, and I've got it deboned. And I'm just tossing it in that fat that cooked out of it on the parchment paper. And I'm fixing to get the other ingredients ready, and I'll bring it back. The recipe calls for 2 cups of chopped onions. And you're going to put the onions into a couple of tablespoons of olive oil to just soften them. You're not going to caramelize them. So I'm going to get them on the stove and get them going. And then I'll tell you what we're going to do next. White chili sounds good to me. It's kind of cool here today. I'm going to get those sauteed down. Cook them till they're fragrant and translucent. Then I'm going to add my 8 cups of chicken broth, a can of cannellini beans, a pound of frozen corn, 3 garlic cloves crushed, and then I've got cumin, oregano, smoked paprika, and cayenne, and a half a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to put all of that into the pot where the onions have been cooking. I'm going to blend it just a little bit with an immersion blender, but I don't want it pureed. I want it still chunky, but I want it creamy. Then I'm going to add my chicken and a can of green chilies, and then I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of cilantro, and it's going to be ready to serve. So let me get this ball rolling here, and I'll bring y'all back. I'm going to let my onions cook, and then we'll be putting it all together, and I'll show y'all what I'm doing. Okay, my onions are fragrant, and they're clear, and some of them are really starting to caramelize a little bit. So I'm going to add my 8 cups of organic chicken broth. Let that start coming back up to heat. I need to add my pound of frozen corn. Now all of that's going to have to heat through. I'm going to add my can of beans. My garlic cloves. All of my spices. And I'm going to start with a half teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to crank in some black pepper. again, my pepper grinder from Sterling Top that has a ratchet action on it that's much easier to use. I'm going to let this come back up to a boil, a simmer, and let the corn get warmed through. And then I will add I'm going to put an immersion blender in it just a little bit. Then I'm going to add in my chicken and my green chilies and my cilantro. Okay, I'm going to put the immersion blender in it and do it just a little bit. Well, I think I am. As you could see, my immersion blender did not work, so I'm just going to use my potato masher and see if I can mash the beans just a little bit. I think that's just to kind of thicken the juice. I don't know what happened. I had never used that very much, so I don't know what's wrong with it. Troy can probably fix it, but not in time for this. Okay, I'm going to add my green chilies, and it said to use smoked ones if you could find them. Well, I couldn't find them in my pantry, so we're getting the regular ones. Now it says to use 2 chicken breasts, and I used about 4 or 5, I think it was 5 thighs. And what I did, I put, I seasoned them really good on both sides with salt and pepper, onion and garlic powder, and then skin side up, I put them on a thing in the oven as I showed y'all with parchment on it. And I cooked them at 400 for 30 minutes. I said 350. I cooked them at 400. Put the thermometer in them and they were perfect. And I covered them with foil and just let them sit there until they cooled. And I told you I had an errand to do, so I went when I got home. I deboned it, and now I'm making our white chili for supper. Okay, y'all, here's the chili all dished up. You can see the onions and the corn and the beans, and it is spicy and it's delicious. We're fixing to have us some supper. Thank y'all so much for coming back to the kitchen today to learn something else good. We've had gumbo, and now we've had this soup, and it's delicious. White chicken chili. It's spicy from the cayenne and the green chilies, but it is so good and so different. Now, if you wanted it to be creamy white chicken chili, just add you about a cup of whipping cream to it, and that'll make it creamy and yummy. It's another good soup recipe for the winter months that's coming ahead of us. So put this in your little book. Let me know when you use it, because I know you're going to like it. It's delicious. I'll be back here tomorrow with something else good. And in the meantime, I hope y'all are planning your meals and serving your family and making sweet memories, planning for the holidays ahead, buying your groceries up a little at a time like I told you, where they won't all have to come out of one payday. That way you can have a better meal and not feel stressed. The good Lord bless y'all. Come right back here tomorrow and we'll learn something else.